I never imagined a single sentence could upend everything I thought I knew about my life. That evening, I came home drained from work, expecting familiar quiet, a shared dinner with my wife, and the gentle rhythm of our everyday life. The apartment carried the soft, comforting aroma of her cooking, a scent that usually brought warmth and ease. But tonight it didn't. The air felt heavy, almost charged with a tension I couldn't yet name. She stood in the kitchen, hands trembling slightly, eyes darting away from mine, lips pressed tight as if the words she carried were bitter to swallow. Something had shifted immediately. The room felt different, subtle yet undeniable. Slowly, she turned to face me, finally locking eyes, and with a voice that trembled but held an odd steadiness, she spoke the words that would fracture my world. "I'm pregnant by your brother. Deal with it." Silence fell, not the kind that resolves, but a stretched, suffocating pause, leaving everything unsaid to hang between us like an impending storm. My mind raced through the impossible, the absurd, tried to grasp that this was happening under the same roof we had built together. I exhaled deliberately, letting a calm, strange tide wash over me. Finally I spoke. My words were simple, measured, soft. "Congratulations." She froze. Confusion flickered across her face. Not disbelief, not anger, just shock that I hadn't crumbled, hadn't yelled, hadn't let the walls of our home bear witness to her confession. My voice remained steady, calm, as if narrating an ordinary fact rather than responding to a bombshell. Life moves in ways we never predict. You'll carry this child, and I'll handle it as best I can. That's all. Tears welled at her eyes, a mixture of panic and disbelief. She searched my face for anger, betrayal, devastation, but there was none. I stayed composed, the anchor in the storm she had unleashed. She began speaking quickly, words tumbling out in an effort to explain, justify, or excuse. I listened without interruption, letting each fragment fall into the quiet space I maintained. Every sentence seemed designed to provoke chaos, but I refused. My calm wasn't indifference. It was recognition. Fury would serve only the narrative she sought to create. Then she softened, voice quivering. "I didn't mean for it to happen. I don't know how it happened." I nodded slowly, deliberately. I understand mistakes happen. Life is rarely neat. We live with consequences. You will live with yours, and so will I. Her shoulders slumped, the tension draining as if she had anticipated an explosion that never came. In that moment, I realized the true power lay not in anger, but in acceptance, seeing clearly without falling into the emotional trap. She flinched slightly, a quiet acknowledgement that the balance had shifted. I said nothing of the turmoil inside, how disbelief and hurt twisted in every fiber of my being. There was no drama, no shouting, no blame, just the stark reality of what had been said, calmly stated, calmly accepted. The room stayed still, her confession lingering. But by refusing to surrender to chaos, I took control. She watched, expecting me to break. And I didn't. That silent refusal, that unwavering composure, was the only response that mattered. Days passed. The house remained quiet, tense. She moved around me cautiously, as though my calm had become a wall she couldn't scale. I carried on with work, with routine, keeping a deliberate distance that was neither cold nor hostile. Friends called, unaware of the fissure behind closed doors. I answered politely, discussing ordinary matters, letting no trace of chaos slip outside. The child she carried was a fact, nothing more. I accepted it, not as forgiveness, not as understanding, but because life demanded it. Occasionally, she sought confrontation, perhaps validation, but each time I responded the same way. Composed, matter-of-fact, unshaken. "We will navigate this," I said once, voice steady. "The choices have been made. The consequences are ours to bear. Let us act with honesty, not theatrics." There was no room for melodrama, no leverage for guilt. The equilibrium had shifted. She realized I hadn't been broken. Instead, I had created my own reality within the one she tried to disrupt. Weeks later, I noticed subtle changes in her demeanor. Hesitation in speech, no expectation that I would explode. The child remained a reminder of betrayal, yet I treated it with calm acceptance. Life had altered, but I hadn't surrendered. I chose composure, principles, and rising above the drama she attempted to unleash. And in that quiet, steadfast calm, I found clarity. When betrayal strikes at the core of trust, a person's measure isn't the chaos they face, but in the strength and silence with which they respond.